and welcome back to my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon. This back here, that's Bernard. He's my October co-host. He's more of the strong and silent type, so don't expect any kind of stimulating conversation from him. It's not going to happen. But tonight we thought we would hop on here and do a Halloween book tag, especially considering it's, you know, Halloween week. Normally when I do a book tag, I go through the questions beforehand, but today I thought, you know what, let's go into it blind. Let's not even glance at the questions. Let's throw caution to the wind and see where we end up. Is this going to be a mess? Maybe, but maybe not. So we'll see. Now, question number 1. Corn maze. What book had you confused and lost from the very beginning? And if you watch my book talk videos, you might know what I'm going to say, and that is The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. I recently read this one like within the past couple of months, and right from literally the first paragraph I had no idea what was going on, and you don't for quite a while, but it's still written in such a compelling way that you keep reading because you want to see where this is going to end up. And to me, I found the payoff was great. I really enjoyed that book, but I was very confused until the end, which I know sounds like that might not be a great story, but it just works. I don't know what else to tell you. If you want to hear more though, I've got a book talk on it, and I go in a little more into depth, but again, not too much, because it's one of those books that's so incredibly difficult to talk about because there's so much going on and half of it you don't understand. Question number 2, haunted house. What book has the creepiest setting? I love a good creepy setting. I love a good haunted house story, which again, if you're from around these parts, you'd already know. But number 1 definitely has to be It'll Just Be Us by Joe Kaplan. The setting inside of that house just rattled me. And also The Invited by Jennifer McMahon. That's the story about what if you built a haunted house instead of moved into one. And there's a few scenes inside that house that truly scared me. And there's one in particular I have in mind, and I keep thinking about it every so often. I'll be going about my day, having a nice day, and that scene will pop into my head, and it rattles me. So definitely those 2. Let's see what's next. Question number 3, ghost boyfriend. Who is your eternal book boyfriend? Now, I don't really read a lot of books that would lend to wanting one of the characters to be your book boyfriend. But when I was younger, I absolutely loved Laurie from Little Women. I loved him. I also loved Gilbert Blythe in Anne of Green Gables. And when I was really young and I used to read the Babysitter's Club books, I used to love Logan. I thought Marianne was just the luckiest to have a sweet boy like Logan. So some combination of those 3, I'm guessing. But again, in terms of like books recently read, I don't really read those kind of books. I usually read horror or thrillers or suburban dysfunction. It's just a lot of messy characters that just don't lend themselves to that. Number 4, Caramel Apple Suckers. Best dang Halloween book ever. I mean, you got to go, at least I gotta go with a Stephen King book for this. And for me, every time October rolls around and Halloween is in the air, I want to both read and watch The Shining. I know Stephen King has a big problem with the movie The Shining, but I love them both. I love the book and the film, but that book, again, it's another one of those books that just really got under my skin, and I love it. So to me, that's the best dang Halloween book ever. Question number 5, vampires and everything. What is your least favorite Halloween trope? Oh, you know, I don't know. In terms of horror, maybe zombies. I'm not really big into zombies. This is shows, movies, books, anything. It's just not what I gravitate towards. Now, don't get me wrong. I watched The Walking Dead and enjoyed it. But aside from that, I don't really get the hype around zombies. So I guess I'll go with that, if that's even really a trope. But number 6, pumpkin and everything. Your favorite Halloween trope. My favorite Halloween trope, aside from like haunted houses, I love when children are in scary stories because they are so scary. Anytime I'm reading a book and a child shows, like a horror novel, and a child shows up, I'm like, oh no, no. Everything bad's gonna happen. That translates as well to film. There's just something so scary about a child in a scary story. I guess because they're so innocent and they're so pure. So there's something when that's sort of taken away and juxtaposed against something so scary. It just, I love it, but like I hate it, but I love it. Number 7, evil incarnate, the most evil villain. Not to sound like a broken record here, but I love when the house is the villain. You know what I'm saying? I love in a haunted house story when the house is the villain. I love it. I love it so much. Because other than that, I can't really think of a book that I've read that has a villain. So I'm gonna go with, I love when the house is the villain. Question number 8. Ouija Board, a book that messes with things that you don't want to be involved with. And for that, I'm actually going to go with the name of the question, and that's a Ouija board. Anything that is trying to summon something. Whenever there are people trying to summon something, I just want no part of it. I don't want to be a part of it. Because even if they're like trying to contact some sort of spirit in particular, there's no guarantee that's what's coming through. So every time I see that in a book or a movie, I just like, I get so anxious because I would never ever do that, because you do not know. You don't know. You do not know what's coming through. So I want no part of that. Question number 9, full moon. What character do you turn into on the full moon? That's a cute question. What character? I don't have one in particular, but I think if I had to pick like a book monster to turn into, obviously I'm gonna want to turn into a vampire. I feel like that's the obvious answer, right? Because vampires were always so glamorous and so, I don't know, they're so romanticized. So I feel like a vampire would be what I'd want to turn into if I had to choose one of those types of characters. But no vampire in particular. Question number 10, All Hallows Eve. The other world and this world have meshed for one night. What book world would you love to be swept up in? I would love to go to maybe the Practical Magic universe. I just love the Owens family. I have such a soft spot for them. Other than that, if I knew it was a temporary switch, maybe I'd like to go to the Overlook Hotel in The Shining. Maybe, as long as I knew that I would be rescued once the, what does it say, 24 hours? One night. As long as I knew at the end of the one night I could come home and I wouldn't be left traumatized from the Overlook Hotel, then there. But otherwise, the Owens family. Question number 11, Voodoo Doll. What author would you love to take control of and make them write anything you want? I don't know that there's anyone, honestly. I love the, and the more I'm thinking of it, the more I think maybe this is probably more applicable to authors that write series. You know, if you could control that author to write whatever you wanted in a book series that you loved. For me, there's honestly not an author I can think of that I'd want to do that with. I love all the authors for all the many things that they write, and I truly cannot think of one. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Number 12, Black Cat. What red flags do you look for when first starting out a book? Red flags when I'm starting out a book. Honestly, honestly, when I go into a book, I'm pretty open-minded. There's nothing that sticks out to me as a red flag that would maybe make me put down the book. I know some people have really, really strong, steadfast, unwavering opinions about certain things they don't want to read, but for me, there are, I'm pretty open-minded. There was one book that, while not a horror book, it definitely was a horror book, if that makes sense. I think it's more of a drama, but it was so horrific, and that's called My Absolute Darling by Gabriel Tallant, or Talent. And it starts off with a very uncomfortable assault, and I had a good long hard think about not finishing that book after I started it. But I carried on, and I'm glad I did. I enjoyed the story, but it was so graphic that it was definitely not a red flag, but something that really made me uncomfortable, and I definitely thought about carrying on. Number 13, Witch's Brew, a book that had a lot of different components thrown in, but the result was magical. I mean, the library at Mount Char's definitely, it was definitely that. A lot of different components all thrown in. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one, I think. Again, it was just, there's so much going on, but in the end, it just worked. And if I had if I had went through the questions beforehand, I would have saved that question for the end, or saved that answer for the end and found something else to go in the beginning. But I mean, if it's for both, so we're just gonna keep it in there. So that is this book tag. I hope you enjoyed. I can't believe it's almost the end of October already. This entire year has just flown by so fast. Pretty soon, like within the next week or two, I'm gonna be filming my videos in front of my Christmas tree. Because I'm one of those people that put up my Christmas tree very early, very early. I think too, because since Thanksgiving here in Canada is in October, because I know some people in America like to wait until Thanksgiving's passed, which I know is towards the end of November for you guys. So since we get that out of the way, beginning of October, by the time November 1st rolls around, I'm ready for Christmas. So yes, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tag. If you have a book channel and you want to do this too, that'd be great. I'd love to hear your answers. Anyway, it's very late and I'm gonna head to bed now, but I'll see you guys again real soon. Bye.